Hello, my name is David Bryan, and this is Curiosity Invited, a podcast inspired by endless curiosity. Tune in for an open-minded conversation about interesting and important things.
Exactly.
Okay, I noticed that in a bunch of your videos, you had subtitles. And how did you do that? By having somebody put subtitles in, or did there's there a program that did that?
You know what? Sometimes people ask for it, or they don't automatically put it in. In some cases, they'll say, "Do you mind if we put subtitles in?"
Got it.
They said it's sometimes if somebody's not really paying attention to
Right.
Colette, they may lose some of
Sure.
what she's saying. But yeah.
But I was wondering if it was a preference for you.
Sometimes I like the idea because I think Colette's story is even being her mom, her story is so amazing to me. And every day I'm reminded how inspiring it is by other families or advocates or teachers or anybody who wants to come forward that sends her a message. So I always have this thing that when you read something, it tends to be more impactful than just listening to something. It tends to register a little bit more. So if somebody wants to add subtitles, or in some cases, I like them to have subtitles because I just think that it registers a little bit more and it's a little more impactful.
Yeah. Well, I will see. I'll test my editing prowess and see if we can do that.
It doesn't mean you have to, Uncle David.
No, but but who knows? So, all right. Well, so we'll start. So here we go. So let me do my thing. Hello and welcome to Curious. You can clap too. I do that really just to find the place it makes a spike in the sound so I can easily find the place to start.
Action.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Come on, next action.
Right.
So welcome to Curiosity Invited. My name's David Bryan, and I have the great pleasure today of speaking to two people that I feel like they're old friends, but I actually just recently met. And Collette Divitto and her mom, that's Collette, who is waving, and her mom, Rosemary Alfredo. I got that right? There you go. There you go. And you two are in Boston at the moment, right?
Yes, we are actually living in the north end of Boston.
The north end of Boston. And then you want to get your invalid arms over with so people.
Oh yeah, so this is what happens when your daughter's your boss. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, don't cut the part of this.
Cut that. Cut. No, this is for all you women out there that love like nice lightweight bell-bottom pants in the summer. Don't run in them.
No,
don't run in them.
So no, it's just one of many life lessons today.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I imagine many people already know who you are because, I mean, unless somebody's been living under a rock, you're all over the place. So that may or not be true, but I mean, obviously, I want to give you time to talk about your story, but I actually want to dig deeper, and I don't want to just retell your story because it's out there over and over and over again. It's like amazing, and it's worth telling, but I figure a lot of people know it already. So you're an entrepreneur. You started a business, and Collette's Cookies. And so Collette, you have Down syndrome. And in this world, that's usually an impediment, right? And it's sometimes an impediment. It's sometimes an obstacle because of the particular ways that Down syndrome has affected a person. And it's sometimes, much more often, I think, an obstacle because of how the world responds to you, how people in the world respond to you. And So I'd like to give you an opportunity. I hope you'll just say, so did you always want to start a business? Did you grow up wanting to start a business, or did that come from something?
Okay. Well, actually, I really don't know how to start on a business at at the very beginning. I I learned how to be as an entrepreneur, and also learn how to run my own business. I learned that from my mom and her side of her family. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
but I think the question that David's
Oh,
also asking
sorry.
you, Colette, is did you always want to own your own business, or why did you start your business?
I really wanted I really wanted to start my own business.
Why?
why?
You know what, she never really wanted her own company. It was not really a dream for her, nor was it something as her mom I thought she would ever do. And I hate to say that because I do come from a family of entrepreneurs, small
Mm.
business.
Mhm.
But when nobody would hire her,
Right.
she really wanted to live independently.
I really want to pay all of my bills on time, and that's why I really want to live independently. So
Yes.
to
So
earn a
so
living.
maybe let's think about this. So Down syndrome is it's a small phrase that has that can encompass a lot of different things, right? So you've spoken about in different places sort of the challenges that come with your particular Down syndrome. So can you say something about what some of those challenges are? Like what are you not good at?
I am not good at. I am actually working on it now every day. It's my it's my it's my speaking. So
Yeah,
Speaking.
her speech.
yes,
Yeah. And was that true from an early age? Was it always true as a little girl?
oh, it's true. Yes,
Yeah, I think speech was always her number one most difficult
there.
hurdle,
Yes.
an obstacle that shut down a lot of doors for her when she was younger. And
Yeah,
even like friendships got difficult because some of the
sure.
kids couldn't really understand her. And, if kids are running around a playground, they have 2 seconds to understand you or they're going to keep running
Yeah.
and go and play. So that was really hard. And Colette's worked on it a lot and she continues 5 days a week. She has exercises that she does to help her
Yeah.
improve her articulation.
I mean, so many people with Down syndrome are affected cognitively, but clearly, Colette, you went to elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and so clearly you can function cognitively. You're at the very high end of that. So the other things and I mean, when did you first know that you had something? When did you Was it from a time when you were a little girl? Like, did you know right away?
No, she didn't know right away. It was more around third grade where she couldn't keep up with some of the tasks
Yeah.
that the class was keeping up with. And the teacher wanted to get her an assistant. And she was infuriated. Colette was infuriated about it. And she couldn't understand why she couldn't work on her own with all the tasks in the classroom. So I never raised her. I never even said Down syndrome, and I didn't not say it because I was not willing to accept it. I mean, funny enough, my son came home from school in fourth grade and said, "Mom, some boy in school told me that Colette has Down syndrome." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I told him he's a jerk, he's a jerk. No, she doesn't." And I go, "Yes, she does." And he goes, "What do you mean? Yes, she does." I go, "She is Down syndrome." And he was like, "What are you talking about?" Even he was like, I
Yeah.
don't see her any different. He goes, "Why didn't you ever say that?" And I go, "Well, I don't know why I would have to say that. Why does that even matter? You
Right.
know, we all have strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
So I think it was really more third grade, but I think the problem with having the label of Down syndrome really is it's quite, there's quite a large kind of, not every child is the same. So
No, right. The
yeah,
range is enormous.
especially with Down. Some kids with Down syndrome are born and they also have autism. You know, Colette has speech apraxia, which was something that's not even related to Down syndrome, but she ended up having that too and needed to do all that extra work.
Mhm.
But for years she used to say, you know, can't you find a doctor to get this out of me?
Yeah.
You know, it makes me different and kids look at me differently.
Yeah.
You know, so
And
for
Colette,
years.
Do you remember your time in like middle school and high school and it being unpleasant?
I actually
That's
did
much better.
find that art when I was in high school. Being at the middle school, I don't remember. So
Right.
No, but in high school, she didn't have a lot of friends, and
I got picked on a lot, and that's why I actually came home. I told my mom, saying that I feel stupid or just feel dumb, and that's why that I feel so depressed.
Yeah.
Since I got older, all of my friends, they just left me. And it's very sad. And that's why that I like to make new friends here in Boston. And honestly, I do know that it takes time, but I am trying my best. So
Yeah. But then you went off to college, right? So where'd you go?
I went to Clemson. I went to Clemson City down at South Carolina. It is like a like a 3-year program. Is to learn about jobs, and also living on your own, such as express independently and also have friends and cooking stuff. I learned all of those stuff and I loved it.
So it was a special program to learn independent living at Clemson.
Yeah, it was like career oriented and independent living.
That's skills too.
And it was a 3-year. You said it was a 3-year program. Yeah, and
I finished early as my second year. So
you finished in 2.
I did it.
Yeah, I'm not sure why your sound is dropping out periodically, but it does, and it gets lower. That's all right. You know, hey, we're chatting. So then you come, then you're done with the program and you're ready to get a job and go to work. Do it. So what did you want to do? Did you have any idea about the kind of job you wanted?
I wanted to work in a school with kids.
There was 2 different things that she wanted to do. One, she wanted to work as like an assistant to a teacher for young kindergarten, first grade.
Yeah.
And she wanted to work in a big office, like in a big building, in a big office.
Yeah.
Like whether it was taking care of the kitchens and stocking everything and then taking care of the conference rooms,
being organized.
Keeping them organized, getting food catered in for meetings and things like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was like the avenues that we explored for her for jobs. But you know what? She ended up volunteering at a school in the North End. And they had her come in 1 day a week, and then it led to 2 days a week, and then it was 3 days a week, then it was full time. And so at the end of the school year,
they would not pay me.
She asked them if you know, when she comes back, could she
Could it be
obviously
a
get
job,
paid?
a paid job. Yeah.
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 And they sent her home and they ghosted her after that.
Yes. No emails and no phone calls, none of those
Yeah,
stuff.
they
So,
didn't answer her emails. They didn't call her back. Nothing to say,
no.
great, yes, no, why, nothing.
Yeah.
And from your perspective, you were pretty sure this was because you had Downs, right? That you were whatever they bumped into. It was like going back to high school, right? Suddenly
That's
you're in this world like that.
Exactly.
That's
it.
exactly how she felt after doing this for like 2 years in Boston and going on job interviews and
Yeah.
not getting placed and people telling her she's not the
2
right
years.
fit. 2 years.
2 years.
She finally, I watched her go from total depression in high school to her life opening up with this college. Then she's off and heading to a city to work and get a job and, you know, move her life forward. And then all of a sudden it's like nothing changed. She's
No.
back in high school again. Exactly like you
Yes.
said.
And so okay, to go from that to all right, now now I'm going to start a company. How'd that happen? How did you
Yeah.
well, whose idea was that? Was it you? Did
She'll,
mom?
she'll tell you, but first I'll tell you that when she was in high school, I had her taking a lot of electives. She was kind of out of the norm of what all the other kids were doing, the students were doing in high school. And one of the electives I put her in was baking. And I don't know how to bake. I mean,
No.
I'm a very bad baker.
Yes, it
I know
is.
how to bake, but I can't seem to be
No,
a
she
successful
can.
baker.
I'm
at anything I've
chuckling
tried to do.
because I know that story. I'm chuckling.
Yes.
So the teacher called me and the teacher said, can you come in after like 3 months? And I thought, oh, great. Here's another teacher that's going to say, I don't know if she belongs in this class, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And the teacher said, she's my best student. I think she's fantastic. And I think this might be a career for her. And again, being not a baker, I just thought, yeah, that's really cute. Okay.
Right.
But Colette started coming home on the weekends and baking and baking and baking and making all different things.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, my son and my other daughter's friends used to come over because they wanted to know what Colette was making. So they'd come over and lunch out, you know. And so that started giving Colette some attention. So she also, I think baking also kind of gave you confidence because you were good at it.
Yes, it makes me feel really happy too, like of baking, and that's why I love baking. Since I was 4 years old, already through high school, and that is how it happens.
But to answer your question, David, after going through 2 years of rejection here, she just said to me, what am I going to do? You know, what am I going to do? I want to make money. I want to be on my own. And I automatically thought, well, what empowered her before? And I thought, well, she bakes and she does make these really good cookies.
Yes.
And so I just said to her,
How
well,
how about you really should do is if you bring some of my cinnamon chocolate cookies as a samples to this local pockets that in this local pocket in the garden nearby my home.
Yeah. So Colette,
so you were gonna so you brought the cookies to the local market and asked them to, you know, can we sell these? And they said yes. They said yes. And did they sell right away? Like,
they actually like all of my cookies have been selling a lot.
Whatever you just did, that was good for the sound.
Oh, that was a snap.
Oh.
Because her cookie, when she brought them down to the market, they ordered 100 packages.
By the end of the week.
Well, they ordered 100 packages as soon as they tasted them. And then they wanted them by the end of the week. And so she came home and she was like, oh, guess what? They want to place an order for 100 packages. And I just looked at her. I'm thinking, what packages? You
I
know,
have some
you don't
good
even
news and
have
some bad
packages.
news. Good news and bad news. We
He
have
goes, oh,
100.
we can do this. And I go,
100.
oh my God, you need a company, you need insurance, you need like,
website.
well, you didn't need a website right away, but you need
Yeah.
packages that are FDA approved. I'm like, Colette, you need so many things. I have no idea about this business. But the owner of the market was so sweet, and he literally held our hand. It was
Oh,
like,
that's
listen,
wonderful.
yeah. But the funny thing is the first day she was delivering, the news station had just finished a clip, local news had just finished a clip in our area. And they saw her walking down the street with a cute little basket with these homemade little labels that Colette made with the ingredients on them. And she figured out the name of the company, and she made her logo. And then we did it all on like a graphic art thing on a computer and printed it on little labels. So she's walking down the street with 100 of these bags with little ribbons on them.
And they were to share my whole story back on TV.
Whole part there.
Oh,
so they saw her and they were
world
like,
explodes.
who are you and what are these, you know? So she starts telling them who she is, and she couldn't get a job, and now she's going to try to sell them here, and she wants to live independently. And they were like, this is a great story. So
yeah, they actually did put it on TV. So
they aired it on TV, and she got 4,000 orders.
I was about to say it, and then the good news turned into crazy good news and bad news at the same time. It's like, wait a second, 4,000 orders you have to deliver.
She thought it was great.
I'm sure it was. It was great.
My God.
So suddenly you not only had to learn how to run a business, but how to bake and make amazing cookies for thousands rather than in your kitchen. And that's actually that's a really hard problem.
Well, it was funny because Colette and I immediately times the recipe by like 100.
Yes, it did.
And we're making and then she's mixing it, and I'm like, that doesn't look right. And she goes, doesn't look right at all. And then we're tasting it, and we're like, this is horrible.
We had to throw it in that.
We threw a lot out. So we finally asked for help from a chef, and the chef was like, you can't do that. We were like, why not? He's like, oh my gosh, no. You can time something up to 10, but that's it.
That's about it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So fast forward. So today, how many orders do you have to have? How many cookies do you have to bake a week on average?
Well, how many cookies have you sold so far?
I say
over 500,000.
Yes, over 5,000.
500,000. 500,000 cookies. You're obviously not doing it in your kitchen. You're doing it in a commercial kitchen, right?
There's 2 kitchens.
I have 2. One of my kitchen, we have been making 80,000
in one day.
Cookies all in one day.
80,000.
80,000.
Wait.
Yep.
You made 80,000 cookies in a day? and they pass the taste tests, your taste test.
Believe it? And they're beautiful. So that's one kitchen, and she doesn't own either one of these kitchens.
No,
that's one kitchen that she goes to a couple of times a month.
Yes.
I mean, maybe one time every couple of months.
Yes.
And she'll make like 80,000 cookies.
Yes, 80,000.
And then the kitchen she goes to every single day.
Make up to 300,000 cookies.
So explain something, Colette, about this business. So are you baking regularly? Like you're baking every day, or you're baking every week, or like how often do you have to bake? And you also have to package, and you also have to ship, and then you also have to, I'm assuming you have to, kind of come up with new products, right? So you're obviously not doing this by yourself.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not actually doing all of this stuff by myself. That's why I have my own team.
Yeah.
I have a team.
She has a team at her first big kitchen. There's like 40 of them.
Yes.
And then she has a team that they work together every day during the week, and there's 15 of them.
So you've got 15 people on payroll and that you're employing full time, or some full time, some part time, perhaps, right?
Right.
And,
Yes.
and obviously yourself, and I'm just sort of scratching my head. I'm just so curious. Have any of the people that you went knocking on their door to get a job, have any of those people contacted you?
No, but Colette has spoken at events that a lot of them were at.
Yes.
And yeah, that's a story, boy. That is really a story.
Most of the people that put a psychological ceiling in their mind on Colette, we sent them cookies with a little note. Even like some of her teachers way back when. I had a teacher like in 4th grade say to me, I don't know what your expectations are for your daughter. She's Down syndrome. Can you imagine?
Yes. Well, that is the thing. And I wonder if that will, you're changing it, right? I mean, your effort, your success, your entrepreneurship, conversations where you get to tell your story is that's the hope for changing it. I mean, I remember as a kid, I was talking to my wife about this the other day. I said, I'm so excited to be doing a podcast with you. And I said, I remember as a kid, the first time I came into contact with I was a little kid. It had to be either kindergarten or 1st grade. And I came into contact with, he was the older brother by maybe a year or two of somebody who lived down the block. And the message from my parents, from the other kids is dangerous, unpredictable. You really have to be careful. And there was just this thing that, and I don't think it came from anybody knowing anything, really anything about kids who are born with Down syndrome. I mean, I think it just is that sort of ignorant fear of different. This is different. And really, I mean, I'm happy, but I'm choking up thinking about that and thinking about what you had to go through. And I tell me if this is an unfair question, but do you still feel like you're fighting that fight? I don't mean fighting that fight. Do you still are you still dealing with similar things? Obviously your team trusts you, right? You've got people you work with. You've got people who you are in demand in all sorts of ways, not only your cookies, but you're helping people. But do you still feel like you're bumping into people who have judgments about you, about, what you're capable of or what you just because of that? Is that still there?
It is, yes.
It is.
And I think it's not so much with people she meets, because Colette has this very strong feeling that she has to make herself present to people. So wherever she goes, she approaches everyone there. You could go to an event with her and she's working the whole room. And I think I watch people, and I stand in the background and I watch because I always think it's interesting. And I watch a lot of people, their faces light up, and I see them staring at her like they're amazed. But and I don't think they treat her different. I don't see anybody patronizing her or yesing her and smiling that way. But what I will say is she gets emails, and people don't have that face to face with her. She does get emails from people a lot that want to do business with her but are asking her they should talk to. You know, who handles your company? Who should we talk to? And I think that's you know, that ticks her, like that ticks her off.
Yes, it is.
Because Colette's like, it's me, it's my company. What are you talking about?
really.
Who should you talk to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Why do you
So
think
I
it's
think
called
that-
Colette?
Yeah, you know, so like,
Yeah.
so I think you
Yeah.
nailed it before when you say ignorant fear.
Yeah.
It's just like, I felt like that watching her come back from interviews. She'd go on interviews places and she'd be there for 2 hours.
And we will see.
Now, if they weren't interested in her, they would have sent her home in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
But she's like, oh, I went for a cup of coffee. Oh, and then they walked me around and I met the CEO and I sat in his office for a while, or her office, and we talked and we laughed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. Everybody's loving her.
Except for that part was that I was not a good fit.
Yeah,
You're
but
not
they
a
wouldn't
good-
hire
I
her.
will not.
But they
hire me.
wouldn't hire her. And I honestly think they're not sure what comes with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, okay,
Well, and it's
well,
also
she-
that, and it's just, you know, but the idea of, so you work at a school a day a week, 2 days a week, at some point you're there full time. They know what comes with it. The only thing is like, wait, what doesn't come with it is money. Wait a second. That's just wrong. That's
Right.
just,
It
that's
was
just-
wrong. Yes.
that was wrong. And the fact that they didn't even have the decency, had she not been born Down syndrome, I just feel like they would have answered her.
Yeah.
But I feel like they just skimmed over, like, oh, we don't have to answer her. You know,
Yeah, but they
they
Yeah.
could have answered her.
Yeah.
They could have said, listen, it's not in our budget. You were
Yeah.
great. We loved
Right.
having you. I mean, they
Right.
could have said anything, but just to ghost her. You know, here's somebody who's always trying to fit in, trying to get a job. And then she asked to be paid after
Right.
working full time. And then you don't even answer her. That's pretty lousy.
Yeah. Well, so not to be negative. I don't want to just focus on this negative piece, but I do you, Colette, do you carry any bitterness about that? You do? Yeah. 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 I'm sorry that's been your experience. I know I didn't do it, but I'm sorry. It's a shame that the world, yeah, that's just a shame. It's, and I hope you can see it as exactly what we were just saying. It's like people's ignorance gets in the way of seeing what's right there in front of them.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like, you know, technology has done a lot of good. You know, I know it's affected people in a lot of different ways, but it's doing a lot of good for people with disabilities, because
Yeah.
there's so many people that are doing so many amazing things, that have great
Totally.
jobs, that have marriages, that live very parallel lives to if they didn't have a labeled disability. And people are seeing that more and more and more and more now.
And
I just
Colette-
hope-
I'm sorry. No, I'm
No.
sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, like,
Yeah.
I just hope that when Colette, who loves to be in the forefront of people, when she meets people, I hope they start to think differently, rather than seeing someone with a disability and thinking disabled. You can
Right.
still see someone with a disability and realize that they still have their own gifts and their
Yeah.
own skills and their own abilities.
And Colette, when you hire people, are you specifically looking for people with disabilities, or that just happens that some of the people who work on your team have disabilities?
I would say not
Wait, do whatever you did that makes that sound do something.
Yes, exactly.
That was-
Yes.
That's
Like,
good.
they are
Oh, I
actually-
see why. It's because we're not getting highlighted
Oh,
there.
That's why. That's what you were
Ah,
snapping
because you're
about.
not talking.
That.
There you go.
Yeah. So, what is the question again? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
do you hire all people with disabilities?
Oh, yeah, that is the.
Are you looking to
right.
hire people with disabilities, or it just so happens that you have people who work for you who have disabilities? Are you trying to find people on your team with disabilities?
Not everyone who actually have a disabilities in them. I really want to do is to, I would say, hire 50 people who actually, like, I would say, like, for this, have all these people who actually do have a disabilities, and that on behalf of those people who does not have a disabilities. So I think
So they're
they
blended.
in a bit,
Yeah.
they in,
Yeah.
like, you know. Yeah.
And I love watching Colette interview people because I wish employers would follow what she does
Yeah.
because she's very comfortable saying, you know, so what are your skills? What are your strengths? What do you think your weaknesses are? And what kind of accommodations do you think you need?
And your interest too.
And I watch her do that and I'm like, that's exactly what employers should do when they, instead of rejecting people that might have a disability because of the ignorance of fear, ask them, you know, like what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Or what kind of accommodations do you think you need?
Well, I also was wondering whether, you know, you think of yourself, you may not think of yourself this way, but people, you know, whether we pay much attention to it or not, mentorship is a really worthwhile thing. So you look at your mom, you look towards your mom for sometimes advice, you know, you don't necessarily take it, but whatever, right? You know, who do you ask those hard questions of? And I'll bet you would make a wonderful mentor for some of the people that you know and from some of the people that you meet, whether you hire them or not. So, you know, because I suspect, sadly, I suspect the experience you had when you were in school, after school, looking for a job, you know, that same experience of, well, that was a great interview, and then suddenly you're just not the right fit. Well, that I'm sure other people are going through that. Many.
Yeah. So Colette, tell David about your nonprofit because she does mentor.
I actually do, yes. I actually have so I actually do have a non-profit. It's actually called co-petties leadership.org. So actually I have been teaching all the workshops. One of them is really about how to start your own business.
You're teaching people how to start a business.
Yes, I do. And then also
great.
And also independence too.
How to become independent.
How to become as an independent, and also
Tell David about the class you just taught. She just taught
I taught
a 5-day class all last week
5-day
from
workshop.
from 9 to 3:30.
Yes.
With 10 students.
Yeah, that is called it's called New Next
Store
Academy.
Well, tell them what the workshop is.
So actually, like with that workshop is to learn about elevator pitch as they eye contact
interviewing
like how to get a job, is like that.
So it starts out with creating vision boards.
Yes.
So it helps the students think about what kind of skills,
goals.
Yeah, exactly. Their goals, their skills, their interests. And then from there, they think about the different types of companies and the different types of jobs in those companies that they would be interested in, right?
Yes.
And then from there, they start processing, getting interview ready. And that's where you're saying eye contact, posture, good energy,
and
handshake.
Handshakes, like that.
Have you taught this before? Have you taught people this before?
Yes, I did.
and do you feel like it was successful?
Yeah, they usually have internships by the end of September available for the majority of the students, unless a student decides they don't want one.
Yeah.
But it's amazing because they also teach them. Colette has 4 co-teachers with her, and it's very interactive, this 5-day thing. It's pretty
Sure.
intense.
Yes.
That's a lot of.
I
it's a
popped in
lot
and
of
out of it.
time.
I
Yeah,
popped
yes,
in and
it
out of
does.
it, and I was like, oh my God, she's going to be exhausted. But by the end of it, they teach them what an elevator pitch is, and that they have a short window of time to really sell themselves. And what do you think the most important things would be to say for an employer? You would want an employer to hear to want to hire you. And by day 5, they all get up and do their elevator pitch. They come in dressed, interview ready, right?
Yes.
Wow.
They get headshots done, right?
Yes.
You guys did headshots?
And being on the cameras too.
Yep.
So,
They get some camera time and they practice.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really
Colette, that's amazing. That's really
Yeah.
amazing.
It was amazing.
and Colette,
It sounds exhausting.
It really was. I have like I normally be home by like 5 or 6 o'clock. So
it's a long day.
it
Oh
takes
my
very long days. So
Every
It was a
day.
good group though. And Colette went to work today and said, I'm really gonna miss all of them.
yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
really? Aren't you exhausted? And she goes, I am exhausted, but I cared. And she
I
helped
care
each one of
enough.
them, you know.
Yeah.
She helped them with the activities and
Mhm.
just with, she'd get up, the co-teachers would say, well, Colette, why don't you show the group you role-playing, interviewing somebody?
Yeah.
And what would be important for you? They used Colette a lot as like
Mhm.
the example.
Yes.
And what's this? What is the place you did it at? Next
Well, no,
Academy?
she did it in her facility.
It's at my
She has a
space.
big space that she can run classes in.
Yes.
So she collaborated with the Massachusetts Down Syndrome Congress
Ah,
and PwC. PwC came in one of the days, PricewaterhouseCooper. They came in one of the days and they
PwC.
taught a finance class.
Yeah.
well.
So it was,
okay. So what do you mean you have a facility? Like this? You mean where you cook or where you bake or?
yeah, where she cooks has a lot of conference rooms.
Got it.
So she has a really big room.
Yeah.
Actually, the news came in and filmed it because they
Yeah.
thought, this is amazing. This is great
Great.
story. This is Colette mentoring and empowering others.
It's
We've
fabulous.
watched Colette for years. So they said that they filmed it. They're going to put it on the news Thursday, and Colette will
Yeah.
probably share the links on her
That's
social
great.
media.
Yes.
And well, speaking of headshots and social media, I would love to get headshots of you both so I can put it up when we post this thing. But Colette, that's just so. That was it. That was perfect right there. It's so both inspiring and I have to say it is for me a little bittersweet, right? I mean, that somebody that you had to go through that. And I know what doesn't kill us makes us stronger and all that. But and so clearly that's happened for you. But it's I guess
Things are
sometimes
changing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's a big
Yeah.
difference between Colette's 31. There's a
I
big
am.
difference between 20 years ago and now.
Yes.
true.
So as long as they keep moving, there's still so many injustices, but to sit here and just focus on the injustices, it's nice that things keep coming forward and we're taking baby steps, but things are moving.
Well, and
Yeah.
then also, yes, I absolutely, that's absolutely true. And, sometimes you have to deal with, and I was wondering about this, and we can cut this out of anything, but 6 years ago, we had a president who, as he was running, a candidate who was running for president, who was openly and publicly making fun of somebody who had physical disabilities. I don't know if you remember that, but there was a reporter that he mimicked.
I remember
in a
that.
terrible way. And it was like, so, at a time when at least some people are moving forward, it's also against the background of like, what is going on in that world? So yeah. that doesn't
Well,
help.
no, it doesn't help. And you know, it's Colette goes back to a lot of schools and universities and talks in the auditoriums. And she
Yeah.
talks about, you know, not bullying kids that aren't cool or that are different, because she was bullied and now look at her.
Yep.
She's like, now I'm on stage, you're sitting there listening to me, and I own 2 companies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Do you see that as an important part of the role you'll play going forward? I mean, I get that you're running a business, so who has time? But you seem to have time. But do you see the importance of that as, you know, you're sort of stepping into that role in the world? Like, you're an example. In addition to being a lovely person, you're an example. Speak louder.
I just said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
I think that's what she wants
Inspiring.
to do more than baking.
I rather doing is to do like I say I'm gonna do more of those of those of the speaking events and also go to high schools. Is it to do some teaching
Yeah.
people who really want to run their own business
Sure.
someday. So
Well, or accomplish, you know, whatever. Like, what's, at least for me, what's inspiring about what you've done is it's less about starting a business as opposed to pushing past the limits that people set for you based on nothing other than, you know, some judgment about who you were without even knowing you. So that's the most inspiring thing to me, is that, and you know, that's a great thing to have done. And yeah, and you have this business, and you're employing people, and you're making money, and yada yada yada, and you're living independently, and that's, you know, all that's amazing. And
amazing.
you know, and you're pushing you know, you're moving the ball forward in a way
Right.
that's really wonderful.
Yes.
And she has a TV show on Peacock,
And it's
Yes, I
called,
saw.
which is great if anybody
Yeah.
like wants to really see Colette behind the scenes and Colette running her company. You'll see it on her TV show,
I'll
because
say
I'm
there's
really not in it.
There's a lot of dancing. There's a lot of dancing
yes,
going on.
yes.
Wait, that might be her web series.
It's
Was there dancing
my-
on your TV show?
Yes, there is.
So Colette has a web series on YouTube called Underestimated, which is
Yes.
really
Which is
fun and
Great.
cartoony, but really
Yes.
cute. It's not really animated, but it's got that animated feeling. But
So-
she has a reality show on Peacock called Born for Business,
Yeah.
where for 6 months a film crew followed her around. They were in her apartment, they were on the streets with her, they were her
And
walking to
like-
work,
Yes, exactly.
they were at work.
Our warriors.
And
Like everything.
and is this series on? Is it like, and how many shows did or are they getting out of it?
Yeah,
How
they
much-
have 10 episodes are on Peacock and Crave
With TV.
TV in Canada.
Yes.
Sorry,
Wow.
I'm still not sure about that.
Sorry.
My watch is talking to me.
It's an Apple Watch.
Interesting question.
Cancel.
Oh, cancel you. Cancel yourself.
Exactly.
Yikes.
It's a for everyone.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's
It's
it's actually fun to go to somebody's house and just, hey, Alexa, and there you
yeah,
Exactly.
totally. Exactly.
Well, Colette, so tell me, Colette or Rosemary, I mean, is there anything else you want to, because I know your time is precious, and especially now that I've just found out you spent 5 days
I
teaching.
know.
And,
So is there anything you want to make sure that you say or talk about before we say goodbye?
I say about like all of these people who have a disabilities who like to start their own business someday.
What do you want to say about it?
I would say I would say all about them is I would say do not give up. Do not focus on your disability. They need to focus on their ability, and then also no matter who you are, you can make a great difference in this world.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think
So I like to add that if
is-
you demand.
that is a good message to everybody. You know, everybody falls short in some way, and everybody's capable in ways that, you know, are extraordinary. And certainly you are.
Exactly.
Certainly you are. And you know, and maybe those cookies are delicious. I
Oh,
wouldn't know.
I will definitely.
You better resend her your address.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Because
I can't believe you never got. Are you sure you didn't get any cookies out to him,
no, we haven't.
or you don't remember?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna look his
exactly.
name up in your ship
If
station.
we don't have your
Oh, you didn't.
cookie order, no, we do not have it. I will definitely have you is to
Resend your address.
I will
Exactly.
absolutely I'll send my address, and you send me the websites for the business
Yeah.
yes.
and the nonprofit, and I'll make sure that's in the description, and a headshot, of course.
So yeah, I will definitely send you that. I say of my peanut butter or my
Send them all the different ones.
Peanut butter, oatmeal.
yeah. Do you have
Chocolate chip cinnamon.
a dog? Because I have to do.
Oh no, I saw that. You make dog treats. No, I don't have cats, but
Okay. So I will send you my other cookies.
great. Thank you.
Awesome. And she has another book coming out in a couple months.
Yes.
What do you mean another? What do you
Yeah,
mean another book?
Yes.
So she gets so many emails from
Yeah,
families like just asking questions about her whole childhood. So Colette and I talked about like, why don't you write a series of books at different age, you know, different grades,
Yes.
of things that changed your life or impacted your life. So she has Colette in kindergarten.
And
That's out already. It's on
has been out,
Amazon.
yes. And also for my second book that is called Colette in third grade.
In third grade?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And by the way, that's the story of meeting the assistant
Yes.
and her being PO'd about it.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what PO'd means, David. She's like, PO'd?
What's that even
That's a
mean?
word from our time,
Okay.
Colette. I mean, it's short version for his off.
Okay. Yeah.
No, but that was a tough year because she was so mad, and she was mad at the teacher and the assistant she was mad at that was trying to help her. So the story actually is about that. But then the assistant ends up being like, all the other students wanted to work with the assistant because the assistant was really cool and really creative.
Yeah, but
and she was like, nope, she's mine. Hit the road, you know?
Yeah, but like
so it's a good story.
It is. But
I think what's the next one? Is it middle school?
I
Wow.
She'll start writing. I tell her this. She'll start writing the next one in like a month.
Yes, yeah.
She's like,
She
what?
always does this to me. So
In your spare time. Do you have
Yeah,
spare time?
exactly.
Do you
by the
have
way,
spare time?
Yeah, she balances.
Most days and times.
She shuts down by 5
I
o'clock.
do.
Well, that's good.
She goes, and then by 5 o'clock
I'm done.
she's toast.
Toast.
What time do you have to get there in the morning when you go in?
I normally have to be up at 7:45. I have to be there by 9.
By 9.
Not by 9. Like I had to be there by 8.
Yeah, 8:15. She
Yeah.
walks
Yeah.
there. Wait, what I was gonna say one other thing. Wasn't there so I know. So one of the buyers for QVC reached out to her.
I have a
Oh,
call,
that's
right?
great.
So, Adriana.
Oh, yeah.
That's great, except suddenly you're going to be baking a lot.
That's why I just said, is there any way? She said, I'd love to get Colette on in October. And I was like, can we do February? I was like,
Well, I am delighted that you gave me this time. And I think I got you in under an hour, which is what I said. And so
been fun.